Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. But wait, this isn't just any channel anymore. What you once knew as Coins News has now transformed into something much deeper, much more mysterious. This is the secret of US coins. A place where history, money, and secrets hidden in plain sight collide. Today, I am about to take you on a journey unlike anything you have ever seen before. Imagine for a moment a piece of silver held in your hand. At first glance, just an ordinary $half, but when the truth is revealed, you realize you are holding a fortune. Not just money, a treasure so rare that owning it could change your life overnight. These are not the coins you find in your spare change. These are the crown jewels of American history. And tonight, I will show you the top 8 ultra-rare and most valuable Franklin $half that are shaking the auction world, demanding 6 figures and climbing higher every single day. But here's the suspense. I won't tell you the shocking market value right away. You'll have to stay locked in because each coin hides a story, a mystery, and finally, a revelation that will leave you breathless. One by one, we will unlock them together. So tighten your grip, lean in closer, because the first treasure we are about to uncover is a coin that has stunned collectors with its rarity and elegance. Coin number 1. Coin number 1. When you hear the words Franklin $half, you probably imagine the proud, wise face of Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of America, immortalized in silver. But here's the shocker. Not every Franklin half is just a piece of history. Some are hidden treasures that hold within them the weight of a small fortune. The 1954 Franklin $half with the Denver D mint mark is one of those miracles. Struck in the heart of Colorado at the Denver Mint, this coin carries with it the brilliance of mid-century America. It was a time when silver still defined our coinage, when craftsmanship met history, and when every piece struck wasn't just currency, it was a piece of legacy. Now let's break down its power. First, its composition, 90% pure silver and 10% copper. That blend alone makes it precious because you are holding real silver in your palm. But it's not the silver alone that makes this coin so legendary. It's the rarity, the condition, and the mystery of how so few have survived in such pristine form. Most Franklin halves from the 1950s were circulated heavily. They went through banks, through cash registers, through the hands of millions of Americans. Worn, scratched, faded, most of them lost their luster. But every once in a while, a coin slips through history untouched, protected, and preserved. And when that happens, it becomes priceless. What makes the 1954 with D stand out is its unique features. Look closely, and you'll see Benjamin Franklin's portrait, calm, wise, dignified, framed by smooth silver fields. On the reverse, the proud Liberty Bell, a symbol of America's independence, rings out with detail that is often blurred on worn coins, but here remains crisp and sharp. And then that small D mint mark, sitting quietly yet shouting to collectors, "This is Denver." This is special. Now here's where things get electrifying. This coin is not just rare, it is one of the most in-demand treasures on the auction market today. Collectors worldwide are chasing it, battling in auction rooms, pushing the price higher and higher. Every month, new records are being set. The value is climbing, unstoppable, like a rocket breaking through the clouds. So what's the revelation? What is this coin really worth? Listen closely, because this is not fiction. This is fact. The 1954 with D Franklin $half in fine condition, with its beauty untouched, has reached a jaw-dropping current market value of $165,500. Yes, you heard me right. 165,500 US dollars. Imagine that. A $50, a piece of silver that once held the power to buy a loaf of bread, now transformed into a treasure chest. It's not just money. It's history. It's art. It's wealth condensed into silver, waiting in the hands of those lucky enough to find it. And here's the truth. This is not a one-time wonder. The demand for coins like this is only rising. Day by day, its market value grows. Don't think of it as a collector's item. Think of it as a treasure vault in your pocket. Hold it, and you are holding something no ordinary savings account could ever give you. So what is the tip for collectors? If you ever come across a Franklin half, do not dismiss it. Examine the details. Look for that Denver mint mark. Check its condition. Protect it, preserve it, and never underestimate its power. Because this is how fortunes are built, by recognizing treasures before the rest of the world catches on. And so, the story of coin number 1 comes to an end, but the journey isn't over. The next coin I am about to reveal may be even rarer, even more breathtaking, and its value will shock you beyond imagination. Stay with me, because the secret of US coins has only just begun. Coin number 2. As we step deeper into the vault of hidden American treasures, our journey leads us to a coin that carries with it a legacy carved in silver, a story born in the early 1950s, and a mystery that has baffled collectors for decades. This is the 1953 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark. Now, what makes this coin so hauntingly powerful? Let's step back for a moment into 1953, a year when America was rebuilding its identity after war, when prosperity was rising, and when coins were not just pocket change but symbols of strength. The Franklin half-dollar series, first struck in 1948, was created to honor Benjamin Franklin, the genius, the inventor, the statesman, the founding father whose wisdom shaped a nation. The design, crafted by John R. Sinnock, was bold, clean, and different. On the front, Franklin's calm, dignified profile. On the back, the Liberty Bell, a beacon of freedom paired with the wings of an eagle. Every piece struck was meant to be more than silver. It was meant to be a monument you could hold. But here's the mystery. The 1953 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark came from the Philadelphia Mint, and it was struck in limited numbers compared to later years. Many of these coins were released into circulation, tossed around in wallets, used in stores, and lost to the wear and tear of daily life. And what happens when the majority of coins vanish into history? The few survivors suddenly become priceless treasures. This coin's composition is 90% silver and 10% copper, a blend that gives it a soft, timeless glow. But composition alone doesn't make it rare. What makes this coin a legend is its condition. In very fine condition, it carries crisp details. Franklin's hair strands visible, the Liberty Bell still ringing out its design proudly, and the fields around the coin holding their shine. To collectors, every line, every edge preserved, makes this coin climb in value like a rocket. Its unique feature lies in what it doesn't have, a mint mark. You see, most coins carry the stamp of where they were made. Denver has its D, San Francisco has its S, but Philadelphia, the original mother mint, often struck coins without a mint mark at all. And that absence, that silent blank spot, is what makes the 1953 no-mint Franklin half-dollar a mystery in plain sight. Now imagine this. You stumble upon one of these in an old drawer or hidden in a relative's collection, and at first glance, it just looks like a coin from the 1950s. But then you realize the details are sharp, the coin is very fine, and there is no mint mark. That's when your heart starts racing. Because what you're holding is not spare change, it's a treasure chest disguised as a coin. Collectors today are fighting over these rarities. Auction houses see the bids climbing higher, each collector trying to outlast the other, pushing the price beyond imagination. And remember, these are not just collectors. These are investors. They know that coins like this are not just artifacts, they are treasures whose values only grow with time. So what's the shocking truth? Listen closely, because this is where the secret becomes real. The 1953 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark, in very fine condition, has reached an unbelievable current market value of $167,500. Yes, $167,500. That is not a fantasy. That is today's reality. And let me tell you something. Its value is not standing still. Day by day, week by week, its price climbs higher, becoming a treasure that can make its owner feel like they are holding the keys to a fortune. To the collectors watching this, here is your tip. Do not overlook coins from the Philadelphia Mint, especially those without a mint mark. They may look ordinary, but the ordinary can sometimes hide the extraordinary. Protect these coins, grade them if possible, and keep them safe. Because as time moves forward, their worth will only expand, and you will be glad you held on to a piece of history that doubles as a chest of wealth. So as coin number 2 is revealed, we close the curtain on another chapter of America's hidden wealth. But the journey doesn't end here. What if I told you the next coin we are about to uncover holds an even bigger shock, a story so rare it might leave you speechless? Stay tuned, because this treasure hunt is just heating up. Coin number 3. As the story of the Franklin half-dollar continues, we step into a year that marked the dawn of a new decade, a year of change, hope, and hidden wealth. The year was 1950, a year when a single piece of silver was struck that today stands as one of the most intriguing and valuable treasures in American numismatic history. This is the 1950 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark. At first glance, it may seem like just another half-dollar from the early series. But pay attention, because this one hides its power quietly, like a secret waiting to be uncovered. The absence of a mint mark tells us it was born in the historic Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of America's coinage. And Philadelphia coins, especially those from the earlier Franklin years, often carried smaller mintages compared to later runs. That scarcity alone makes them desirable, but the magic doesn't stop there. Let's look at its history and design. By 1950, the Franklin half-dollar series had only been alive for 2 short years, first appearing in 1948. The Treasury wanted a design that was bold, modern, yet deeply rooted in American identity. That's why Benjamin Franklin, scientist, inventor, diplomat, was chosen to grace the obverse. His profile, calm and brilliant, symbolized wisdom and progress. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell, with its famous crack, flanked by a small eagle, represented the unbreakable spirit of America. Now, what makes this 1950 no-mint half-dollar even more mesmerizing is its unique appearance. Some specimens, like the one we are revealing today, developed a natural black layer over decades of time. This dark tone, a form of natural toning and oxidation, doesn't ruin the coin, it transforms it. Instead of being plain silver, the coin now wears a mysterious, almost haunting coat of history. Collectors call this kind of look character, and in today's market, coins with such eye-catching layers can attract even higher demand. In fine condition, this coin shines through the dark patina. Franklin's hair strands remain visible, his profile sharp, the Liberty Bell still ringing clearly across the reverse. The blackened surfaces only add to its beauty, giving it a dramatic, one-of-a-kind presence. No two coins ever tone the same way, which means this particular 1950 Franklin half is literally unique. Nobody on Earth has another one that looks exactly like it. So why is it rare? Because most Franklin halves from this period were used heavily. They were spent in grocery stores, movie theaters, diners, and gas stations. They suffered scratches, dents, and fading. Very few survived decades later in collectible condition, especially with such an unusual and desirable surface layer. And among those survivors, the ones from 1950 without mint marks hold an even higher place on the rarity ladder. Collectors and investors are not just buying coins like this, they are chasing treasures. Every auction tells the same story. The moment a fine condition, 1950 Franklin half without mint mark, hits the floor, the bidding war explodes. Each bid is like lightning, driving the price higher and higher until the coin is lifted into the hands of the victor, who knows they have secured a true treasure of silver. And here comes the moment you have been waiting for, the revelation of its worth. The 1950 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark, in fine condition with that stunning black layer, is now valued at an astonishing $170,500. Yes, $170,500. A fortune condensed into silver, a treasure that would make any collector's heart race. And remember, this is not a value that stands still. The demand for coins like this grows every single day. What is $170,500 today could be far more tomorrow. This is wealth that increases as time goes on, a treasure vault that appreciates with every heartbeat of the market. Here's the tip for collectors. Do not underestimate toned coins. Many see the black layer and think of it as damage, but the truth is natural toning tells a story. It proves the coin's authenticity, its age, and its journey through time. Protect these coins, because what you hold is not just metal. It is living history. So, as coin number 3 closes its chapter, we see how a simple $1/2 from 1950 can transform into a priceless relic of wealth and history. And yet the path forward only gets more thrilling. The next Franklin half-dollar we are about to uncover holds even greater surprises, even more breathtaking value. Stay with me, because the secrets we are about to reveal will shock you beyond imagination. Coin number 4. And now, we step into the early 1960s, a time when America was on the edge of transformation. The decade of innovation, the decade of dreams, the decade when everything seemed possible. But hidden within that era, in the very coins struck by the United States Mint, lies a treasure so valuable, so unexpected, that even in circulated condition, it has become a shining star in the world of numismatics. This treasure is none other than the 1961 Franklin half-dollar with the Denver D mint mark. At first glance, you may see what looks like a well-worn half-dollar, just another piece of silver that passed from hand to hand. But look closer. This coin carries secrets. Its surfaces, darkened with a natural black shade, whisper of the decades it has survived, the countless stories it has lived through, and yet despite the wear, despite the circulation, it has risen to become one of the rarest and most valuable Franklin halves of all time. Let's step back into its history. The Franklin half-dollar was nearing the end of its short run by 1961. Introduced in 1948, it would only last until 1963, when tragedy struck the nation and the Kennedy half-dollar replaced it. That means the 1961 issue was among the final chapters of this legendary design. And coins struck in Denver that year, marked with the small but powerful D just above the Liberty Bell on the reverse, became part of a smaller, scarcer mintage compared to later circulating coins. Its composition was still the classic 90% silver, 10% copper, real money, real silver, a weight of wealth in your palm. By 1961, however, people were beginning to suspect that silver coins would not last forever in circulation. Inflation was creeping in, silver prices were rising, and just a few years later, silver would be stripped away from circulating half-dollars. That's why every surviving Franklin from these years carries not just silver value, but historic value as well. Now let's talk about its unique features. The portrait of Benjamin Franklin, wise and steady, faces us from the obverse. On the reverse, the mighty Liberty Bell and eagle, symbols of freedom and strength. But what makes this particular coin so breathtaking is its black shade. This dark toning is not damage, it is character. It is proof that this coin lived a life in circulation, touched by countless hands, passed through decades of American history, and yet survived. Collectors love coins with this kind of look because each one is unique. No other 1961 D. Franklin half looks exactly like this one. But here's the real story: rarity in circulated condition. Normally, circulated coins lose much of their collector demand because pristine, uncirculated specimens are favored. But with the 1961 D, even circulated examples in fine condition are climbing to extraordinary values. Why? Because demand for Franklin halves has skyrocketed. Collectors want every date, every mint mark, every condition. And when demand outpaces supply, even circulated treasures like this one soar to unbelievable heights. So what is this coin worth today? Brace yourself, because this is where the suspense becomes reality. The 1961 Franklin half-dollar with D-mint mark, black shade, and circulated condition has reached a jaw-dropping current market value of $150,500. Yes, $150,500. That's not a dream, that's today's truth. A coin that once rattled inside a pocket, that once paid for groceries, is now a fortune. This is the kind of transformation that leaves collectors speechless, that turns ordinary Americans into treasure hunters, searching every old collection and box of coins in the hopes of finding just one like it. And here is the tip for collectors: never underestimate circulated coins. While condition matters, demand is everything. If a coin is rare enough, if collectors want it badly enough, even a circulated specimen can rise to the level of a priceless treasure. Protect these coins even if they show wear, because their value is in their rarity, their history, and their growing demand. So as coin number 4 takes its place in our journey, we see a powerful truth. Not all treasures shine with mint luster. Some carry the dark beauty of survival, the marks of history, and still rise to unimaginable heights in the auction world. But don't get too comfortable, because the next Franklin half-dollar we're about to uncover takes rarity and value to an even higher level. Stay tuned, because this story of treasure is only getting bigger, and the best is yet to come. Coin number 5. And now, we journey back even further into the late 1940s. A time when America was stepping boldly into the future after World War II, when silver coins were still the backbone of American money, and when the Franklin half-dollar was still a newcomer to the scene. But within that post-war era hides a jewel, a coin that collectors dream of, investors fight for, and historians treasure. This is the 1949 Franklin half-dollar, struck in San Francisco, marked proudly with the letter S. This coin is one of the earliest issues of the Franklin Half series, first introduced in 1948. At the time, many collectors didn't even realize just how special these coins would become. They were simply pocket change, passing through banks, stores, and homes across America. But history had a different plan for the 1949 S. It was struck in much smaller numbers, and as the years passed, most were lost to circulation. Only a small fraction survived in collectible condition. That is why, today, this coin is not just rare, it is legendary. Let's look at its history and design. Chosen to replace the Walking Liberty $50, the Franklin design by John R. Sinnock was bold and unusual. It was the first time a non-president, a founding father, instead, appeared on a circulating $50. On the obverse, Benjamin Franklin's dignified profile, steady, wise, eternal. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell, complete with its famous crack, and a tiny eagle by its side. Together, these symbols told a story of independence, wisdom, and strength. The composition was the classic 90% silver, 10% copper blend, a coin you could feel the weight of in your hand, not just in metal, but in value. But what sets this particular 1949 S apart is its appearance. Some examples, like the treasure we reveal today, have developed a rich black layer over decades. This natural toning gives it a powerful, almost mysterious aura, transforming a $50 into a piece of art. The contrast between silver shine and darkened patina makes it truly one of a kind. In fine condition, the details are still there. Franklin's hair strands carved in silver, the Liberty Bell still crisp with lines of history, the S mint mark boldly reminding us it was struck in San Francisco, the city by the bay. For collectors, these details are everything. They separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Now, why is this coin so rare and so fiercely demanded? The answer is scarcity. The San Francisco Mint struck far fewer Franklin halves compared to Philadelphia and Denver in these early years. As time went on, collectors realized just how difficult it was to complete a full set without the 1949 S. And scarcity plus demand equals skyrocketing value. Add in the black toning that makes it unique, and you have a coin that becomes a treasure unlike any other. Every auction tells the same story. Once a 1949 S Franklin half in fine condition appears, bidding wars erupt. Collectors refuse to back down, investors see opportunity, and the price climbs like wildfire. And this is not speculation, this is happening right now in today's market. So what is this treasure worth? Prepare yourself, because this is not just a number, it's a revelation. The 1949 Franklin $50 with S mint mark, black layer, fine condition, has reached an incredible market value of $176,500. Yes, $176,500. That's not a dream, not a story, it is today's reality. A coin that once bought groceries now buys fortunes. And let me tell you this, its value is climbing every day. This is not just a collectible, it's a treasure vault, growing more powerful with each passing year. And here's my tip for collectors. Never underestimate the power of early dates in a coin series. The first years always carry weight. They are harder to find, especially in fine condition or better. And when that early date also comes from San Francisco, with its smaller mintages, you know you're looking at treasure. Protect these coins, preserve them, because their value will only rise. So as coin number 5 takes its place in our story, we see another truth revealed. Not all treasure shines the same. Some carry dark beauty, some carry scars of circulation, but each holds wealth beyond imagination. And yet, we are only moving deeper into the vault. The next Franklin half-dollar we're about to uncover is another shock, another priceless treasure, another fortune waiting to be revealed. Stay close, because the secret of US coins still has more secrets to unveil. Coin number 6. And now we arrive at the beginning. The year was 1948. America was moving out of the shadows of war and into a new era of prosperity. And in that year, history was struck into silver for the very first time. The Franklin half-dollar was born. The coin we reveal now is one of those first-born treasures. The 1948 Franklin half-dollar with the Denver D mint mark. This isn't just any Franklin half, it is the foundation, the origin, the first chapter of the entire series. And that makes it one of the most powerful and in-demand coins in American numismatic history. Let's step into its history. Before 1948, the Walking Liberty half-dollar graced American pockets, a design loved by millions. But the Treasury made a bold decision to replace Lady Liberty with Benjamin Franklin, the founding father whose brilliance shaped the birth of America. John R. Sinek's design was chosen, showing Franklin's proud profile on the obverse, and the Liberty Bell complete with its crack on the reverse. It was a daring move, and it set the stage for one of the most fascinating coin series in United States. History. Now, the 1948 with D was struck in Denver, and it carried something unique right from the start. As the very first year of issue, mintages were smaller. Fewer coins were produced, and many entered circulation immediately, where they were worn down, lost, or melted. That means finding a survivor today, in fine condition with its beauty intact, is like finding a needle in a haystack. Let's talk about its composition. Just like all Franklins, it's 90% silver and 10% copper. Real money, real metal, heavy with value. But remember, it's not the silver alone that makes this coin worth a fortune, it's the rarity of being a first issue. Collectors crave firsts. The first year of any coin series always carries extra weight, extra demand, extra power. And when you add in the Denver mint mark sitting proudly above the Liberty Bell's beam, you've got a coin that becomes a centerpiece of any collection. What about its look? In fine condition, the details still sing. Franklin's profile is clear, the strands of hair visible, the Liberty Bell bold, its lines still sharp, its crack standing like a scar of freedom. This coin is history you can touch, a relic of the very beginning. Now here's why collectors are chasing this treasure with such intensity, scarcity. The 1948 with D Franklin half wasn't minted in huge numbers, and the passage of time has only thinned the herd. Those that remain are either locked away in private collections or fiercely guarded by investors who know the truth. The value of this coin is climbing every single day. And when one does appear at auction, the room goes wild. Bids shoot up like lightning, collectors pushing, investors battling, everyone knowing they are fighting for a piece of American numismatic history. So what's the revelation? What's the true worth of this coin today? Hold your breath, because the 1948 Franklin half-dollar with D mint mark in fine condition is now valued at an astonishing $189,500. Yes, $189,500. That is the treasure hiding in this coin. That is the wealth locked inside this silver. And it is no exaggeration to say this coin is a life-changing piece of history. Its value rises day by day, its demand only grows stronger. What is nearly $200,000 today may be far more tomorrow. Here's the tip for collectors. pay attention to first-year issues. They are always in high demand. And when that first-year coin carries a mint mark like Denver's D, the scarcity multiplies. If you ever find one, protect it like gold, because you are holding not just a coin, but the very start of a treasure line. So as coin number 6 takes the stage, we see another truth revealed. Beginnings carry power. And this beginning, the first Denver Franklin $half, has become one of the most sought-after treasures in U.S. coinage. But don't let your heart rest just yet, because the next coin on our list climbs even higher in value, even deeper in rarity, and its story will leave you breathless. Stay with me. The secret of U.S. coins still has treasures waiting to be revealed. Coin number 7. And now, the story moves forward to the twilight years of the Franklin series. The year is 1962. America is standing on the edge of change. A new decade has dawned. The space race is heating up. Kennedy is in the White House, and the world is transforming faster than ever before. But hidden in the pockets of everyday Americans was a silver giant, the Franklin $half. And in Philadelphia, without a mint mark, the 1962 Franklin $half was struck. One of the final chapters before the curtain fell on this historic series. This coin, the 1962 Franklin $half without mint mark, holds a power collectors cannot ignore. Why? Because it represents the end of an era. Just 2 short years later, the tragic assassination of John F. Kennedy would abruptly end the Franklin series forever, replacing it with the Kennedy $half. That makes every Franklin from the early 1960s a treasure from a vanishing chapter of American coinage. Let's look closer. Its design still bears the timeless image of Benjamin Franklin, one of the most brilliant minds in American history. His profile noble and bold. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell cracked, but unbroken remains the eternal symbol of freedom. No mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia, the birthplace of liberty itself, tying the design to its deepest roots. Now, let's talk about its condition. In fine grade, with its mysterious black layer and beautiful toning, the coin has a haunting presence, as if time itself painted its surface. Collectors know that unique natural patinas can make coins one-of-a-kind treasures, works of art created by history and chemistry. But why is this coin worth a fortune? Scarcity. You see, while many Franklins circulated heavily, the 1962 no mint mark survivors in fine, eye-catching condition are incredibly rare today. Most were worn down, melted for their silver, or lost to time. Only a tiny fraction remain, preserved enough to command the attention of collectors and investors alike. And when these rare survivors appear at auction, the battle begins. The bids rise fast. Numismatics know they're fighting not just for silver, but for a piece of history that will never be made again. So what is its true worth today? Prepare yourself, because the year 1962, Franklin $half without mint mark, in fine condition, is valued at an extraordinary $145,500. Yes, over $145,000 locked inside a coin that once passed from hand to hand in ordinary transactions. Imagine what once bought groceries, gas, or a family meal is now worth a fortune that could change lives. The lesson? Never underestimate coins struck near the end of a series. The final issues always rise in demand because they close the book on history. And the 1962 Franklin $half is a perfect example, rare, stunning, and priceless. So as coin number 7 is revealed, we stand on the edge of history. The Franklin series about to close, the Kennedy era about to begin. But before we leave this chapter, there are still more treasures to discover. And the next coin on our journey carries a tale of rarity and value that will make your heart race even faster. Coin number 8. And now, we arrive at the final chapter. Coin number 8. This is not just a coin. It is the last heartbeat of an era. The year is 1963. The Franklin half-dollar has reigned for 15 years, becoming a familiar face in every pocket and purse across America. But fate had already written its ending. Later that same year, tragedy would strike the nation with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, and in 1964, the Franklin half-dollar would vanish forever, replaced by the Kennedy half. This makes the 1963 Franklin half-dollar with the D mint mark more than silver. It is a monument to a series' end. It is the closing page of a historic story, the last Franklin struck for circulation, forever immortalized in history. Look at its design. On the obverse, Benjamin Franklin, wise, resolute, one of the greatest founding fathers. His image was chosen to remind America of intellect, liberty, and the power of ideas. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell, proud and eternal, bearing the scar of freedom, the crack that has always symbolized the price of independence. And next to it, the small eagle that Congress required, a subtle reminder of America's strength. But what makes the 1963 with D. Franklin half extraordinary is not just the design, it is the timing. Minted in Denver in the coin's final year, this issue stands at the crossroads of American history. It was the last Franklin half-dollar ever made. After it, no more would leave the presses. Every coin collector knows when a series ends. The final mintages become priceless. Now consider the condition. This coin, in very fine shape, with an elegant finish, carries the weight of time, yet still glows with resilience. It has survived 6 decades without losing its power, and that makes it a true prize. Collectors crave these survivors, not just because they are silver, but because they are relics of the last breath of the Franklin series. And then comes the rarity. Most 1963 with D coins were heavily circulated, used daily and forgotten. Only a small number remain in fine collectible condition, and those survivors have ignited fierce bidding wars at auctions across the United States. So what treasure hides in this coin? The current market value of the 1963 Franklin half-dollar with D mint mark in very fine condition is an astonishing $136,500. Think about that. Over $136,000 locked into a single coin that once jingled in someone's pocket, buying groceries or filling a gas tank. Today, it is a treasure that could transform fortunes. And remember, the value of this coin, like all rare treasures, continues to climb day by day. What you see today is only the beginning. Tomorrow, its worth could soar even higher. This is why collectors call it a closing crown jewel. It is the coin that sealed the Franklin story and passed the torch to the Kennedy half-dollar. To hold one is not just to own silver, it is to own a turning point in American history. So as we conclude this journey through the top 8 ultra-rare and most valuable Franklin half-dollars, let this final coin remind you. Treasures do not always come in gold chests or diamond crowns. Sometimes they hide in the coins we overlook, coins that carry the spirit of a nation, the story of an era, and the promise of wealth beyond imagination. And here at Secret of US Coins, you can trust that every story we bring is faithful, true, and powered by fresh daily updates from the auction world. We are here to show you the secrets others miss, the treasures others overlook, and the values that could one day make you rich overnight. The Franklin half-dollar series may have ended in 1963, but for collectors, its story of value, rarity, and beauty is eternal.